Welcome to Arsenal Above All, everyone. So on Wednesday night, we were ruthlessly evicted from our residence at the top of the Premier League table by the landlords or overlords, if you could call them that, of the league. However, we're sitting at the top of the league again following a huge lunchtime win against Aston Villa and with City dropping points against Forest. So squatters' rights and all that. We're back there. You're not going to move us out again. So joining me tonight to discuss the game today and the fallout from the gutting defeat against City. I've got my man Neil Shah with me. How you doing, my friend?
Squatters' rights, brilliant.
Squatters' rights.
Oh, Michael, that's brilliant. What an introduction. Yeah, I'm top of the world. So what can we? There you go.
Yeah, we've done up the gaff. Look, we've done up the gaff as well. We put all the nice wallpaper up outside, and they come and kick us out. What's going on? You know what I mean? All these nice stuff. Flags and all that stuff.
The blip is over. The title charge is back on, strong and fully focused. Can't wait.
That's right. Thanks for joining me, my man. Thank you very much. And I've also got James Johnstone with me. How you doing, James?
Good evening. Yeah, thanks again for having me on. And yeah, you're rightfully so. Rightfully so. If you going to take more than a lot of money and a lot of noisy people to kick us out of our house, we are not moving. We are not moving.
Great stuff. Now, thanks for coming on, guys. So obviously this lunchtime, we talk about the game on Wednesday just gone, but on lunchtime we basically all amongst ourselves in the chat said this is a must win. We have to bounce back. It's been 3 games without picking up a win, and we did it in some style. I think Neil, talking about the City game, we'll talk about it obviously bits and pieces going back and forth, but that was a game of 2 halves, wasn't it? And then I think it was the case again today where it was again game of 2 halves. The first half was a bit fractured, and then obviously in the second half we took control. But what was your take on the way we started that game today, in terms of obviously having a knockback again, and then how we responded to that? Were you happy with the lineup as well? I mean, because there was obviously a lot of talk about that. But what was your general thoughts on the first half today at lunchtime?
The lineup, starting with the lineup, I wasn't surprised at all. The fact that Trossard got his first start in the Premier with Arsenal, it didn't surprise me. I think he's done enough to justify his place. I think Martinelli, as good as he's been, as intense and as pacey, and he adds that dimension into the game, I think he slightly fell off. I mean, to be fair, they've all fallen off a little bit, haven't they? We'd all. I don't know whether it was tiredness. All the players looked leggy. They lost that zest, that fire, everything. To be fair, I think we're looking back on it, and I know I don't want to make excuses, but I still feel we were robbed with Brentford. I mean, that was just a horrible, horrible thing that happened to us with the decision that was made. And Anyway, we won't. Let's not talk about that because it's going to be a happy podcast today. But I think overall, since the FA Cup loss, we've just lost that little bit of something. We had an amazing January. We had such a hard run in January, and it was almost like the opposite start and middle of this month. And so some of the players, I wasn't surprised of the changes. The only one I was surprised at was White. I thought Tomiyasu would actually come in and start, but he went back with White. So I think that was a kind of surprise for me. Obviously, Partey's injured, so we had to make a change there. And just a quick one on that. I think Jorginho has done very well. I was lauding Trossard's initial performances with us, and actually, from the bits that I've seen with Jorginho, I mean, he's not done bad at all. I think he's a good addition. He's a good one to step in when we need it, and he showed that again today. I think he had a great game, to be fair. So with that, I wasn't surprised too much. The first half, I think again we weren't the same team that we've come accustomed to over the season. For me, it wasn't bad, but Villa I think have probably sensed how well other teams have done against us in the last 2-3 games, and they actually started the way we've started games. They were very quick, and obviously it was telling with their first goal. And to be fair, you know, we can criticise defence and all the rest of it, but I thought that was a great pass and a good finish. I mean, you know, you got to just take it on the chin and say that was a good goal. We would have been very happy with a goal like that. So I've got no real complaints, but it's the response. And my goodness me, that Starboy. I mean, he seems to give something else every time we see him. We think he's done everything he can, and then he comes up with something like that. You know, there was a couple of chances before, but he done ever so well. That connection was amazing. It was a rocket, unstoppable. No one's going to save that. It's just a great finish. But the one thing that I felt, without saying too much more, was I thought, is this going to be another situation where we're coming a little bit stuck here with what's happening? And are we going to start relying on someone like him again, like we have done before? And that was my only kind of worry. I thought, oh no, is it going to be Saka and, you know, with Emil Smith-Rowe on the bench? I thought, is he going to return and we're going to start relying on those two like we did, you know, a couple of seasons ago? And but no, obviously the game manifested a totally different story. But I just like the fact that we responded so well in that. But then, of course, you know, Villa took control again, another great goal. It was a team goal. It was an Arsenal goal in a way, you know, with Unai's presence there a little bit. Maybe that had something to do with it. But it was a great goal, second goal from them. Again, I've got no complaints. And I just thought, oh, God, what is happening to us? This is what this could end up being. Well, would it have been 4 defeats in 5 with 1 draw? And I just thought, this is like relegation form, considering the first half of the season was championship form. So there was worries, and again, of course, you guys will talk about the second half, but I just had a lot of fear. But what was telling was we never gave up. We held our heads up high. We answered the questions of character yet again, and this time coming from behind twice. And only doing that and securing a point, but then going ahead and winning. And that was even with other moments where we had chances, one very clear-cut chance for our captain, but we didn't let our heads drop and we kept on going. And that is what I've been impressed with today. It's the mentality and the character of the whole squad. And that's all orchestrated again by Arteta.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll definitely say, James, with their goal, watching it, you know, when it happened, I was thinking, you know, I definitely think Saliba should have got a little bit closer to him.
Yeah, he's got to get tighter there, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think definitely. Yeah.
I think, you know, at least engage him when he's outside the box, because, you know, he dropped off, and then once he's in the box, he can't. He's got to drop off. But there were a few yards before he did that, and I've always thought about, you know, if a defender's going to do something, make a decision, do it outside the box. It gives some, you know, maybe give the referee or, you know, the fourth official to think about the situation. Whereas if you do it inside the box, then it's easy. It's going to be a penalty and maybe a red card. But yeah, disappointed like Neil that they let a goal in that early. But you can't fault the character. Again, we've been asked a different question, a different type of question, and we've come back from it. And you know, what was your thoughts on Saka? Because I felt going into the second half, which we talk about in a second. But I felt Saka, not only was it a tremendous goal, an amazing finish, and an elite celebration as well, a bit of Henry celebration. But I think the flashpoint for me was just at the end of the first half, where he lost it a little bit with Coutinho as a bottle pushing and shoving, because he was getting the treatment again, wasn't he? He was getting kicked to pieces. Odegaard was getting kicked up in the air, and it seemed like he was like, "No, I'm not having that. You know, I'm you know, you sort of taking the mick here." And I think that might have went into the dressing room. And obviously, with everything else what Arteta said to them, we came out and dominated the second half. But yeah, what was your take on his performance again? Because I think you said in the chat, you know, what would you do without? You know, he's the daddy at the moment and everything. Yeah. But what do you say about this? What more can you say about this kid?
He's unbelievable. For me, Neil mentioned it with Smith Rowe and Nelson back in it. I want to know what they're doing in training, because these are guys that are supposedly challenging for that position, yet him on one leg was still preferable to what. And I'm not trying to be needlessly provocative to take up airtime on your show, Mike, but I'm like, what is the if he's that is he that good on one leg that Smith Rowe and Nelson aren't worth bringing on? I there was a time there where I thought he's got to go because he doesn't. I'm not trying to say it's a conspiracy and a thing against Arsenal, but he gets no protection whatsoever. I mean, maybe it stands out more because, yes, okay, I watch Arsenal more than any other side, rightfully so, we're top of the league. But he gets, it's not that he gets, a kick. He gets walloped. Like, he gets a pasting every game, a pasting. And yet he still delivers and does everything like this. And, there was one in the second half where you look at it and you're like, oh, if you look up and square it to Martinelli, there's a tap-in on there. But he has the shot, doesn't? And I'm like, he's never going to pass. It's when Saka's in that position, he ain't pass, especially the form that kid's on. And I mean, we said it, all of us said it months and months back on Purely. And we were like, if we're ever going to do anything as a side, this guy's numbers have got to be whoosh. And I believe that he is going to get whoosh number. And he's proven it right. I mean, he's unbelievable, Michael. And it's a worry in the fact that you are going to, you're looking at it going, God, we are running him into the ground again like we have done the last 2 years. But when he's this good, what can you do? You can't really blame Arteta for it. But, they always go on about the one-legged man in the, the arse-kicking contest. And that was him today. Because like you said, he took it personally. Yeah. And that fire, Jack said, I was really happy when he actually, and so was I. Yeah. I was just like, finally, he's like, right, enough. Because it was a horrible foul from Coutinho. Yeah. Straight, he chopped him from the back. So, it was a horrible, horrible foul. And I think there are times like that where it does take one play. We had it last year when Arteta and Klopp went for each other at Anfield, didn't it? And that lifted them and then lifted the team and we lost. I think, like you said there, Saka maybe at the end of that half and everything else sort of gave that a G up and a push. And it was like, right, come on, like enough of this now. Let's go and get the points.
Can I just quickly say it? I think I think James, also Zinchenko probably would have been part of that rally in the I'm sure he would have.
Yeah. But I was so shocked, Neil, when he scored that he didn't do anything other than just like, right. I thought when he scores if he scores for Arsenal, he's going to go mental. Like, do you remember the guy from Newcastle when he took his shirt off and then started kicking the... I thought he was going to do something like, I thought he was going to go nuts. But he was just the most composed, like, right, done it. Come on. Like, arms back where we are. Back in line. Yeah, I thought he was insane when he scores. But
yes. Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah.
No, you're right.
That shows you his mentality and what he, I can't remember what the time he scored it, but we still had time. He was like, no, we still have time. We're going for a winner. Yeah. And the only thing I think I saw him, he was giving something back to someone, as he was shouting some obscenities to somebody on the Villa side, or probably Martinez, because he's because just how he is.
Michael, there was so much of it today. Obscenities. Yeah. It was really. I mean, have you seen about the press box?
Yeah. He kicked off there.
I'm like, the data analysts are having a scrap and everything. I'm like, they're not even anywhere. Oh, mad. Love it.
It says so much about Zinchenko and his care and love for the club, because that's it, exactly what you just said. The fact that he could have gone mental instead of getting his first goal, but he was more interested in, no, do you know what? We've got to go ahead and try and win the game. And that's more important to him. He's putting himself second, putting the club first. And I think that's the epitome of the whole squad this season. It's all about the collective. It's never been about an individual or an individual's ego or even an individual success. Do you remember that time? What game was it where we were? Was it 3-0 down? Was it Giroud scored a hat trick and everyone was going on at him when he
we drew 3 with Bournemouth.
And then he was criticised
or something, he came back. Yeah,
that's it. And he was criticised because of that prolonged celebration.
Yeah,
we could have gone on to win the game, but this was slightly. I know this is slightly different because there was a lot of time left in the game, but it just shows the mentality of the player. I think it's great. And just one thing, James, what you just said. Sorry, I'm talking too much now, and I apologise. But Saka thing. I don't think. Can you imagine if Saka had passed the ball and that didn't turn into a goal? Then we would have said, well, why didn't he just go for it? Because you see what I mean? So, no, but anyway, I'll shut up now.
No, but that's all. because obviously going into the second half, and one of the things in Arteta's often spoken about how he has this little network of different coaches from different sports. So he's got he does like a weekly or bi-weekly, whatever teams meeting where he'll talk to. There's an NFL coach and an NBA coach, whatever, and they'll just talk about the way they go about their jobs and everything, and if they can take pieces and bits and pieces off each other. And one of the key things which separates a good coach in the NFL to an elite coach is the adjustments. So once they've seen the first half, because obviously the NFL is quite different there because they've got all playbooks and everything. So once they've seen what happens in the first half, and if you're getting battered or if it's not going your way, what are your adjustments like? How good are your adjustments? How are you able to see what needs to be changed and then for them to execute in the second half? And I think you have to look at it in this context for what Arteta's done. He's seen obviously what was wrong in the first half. And the second half was almost practically domination, apart from a wonder save from Ramsdale, which was how massive could that save be in terms of the season? But Arteta's adjustments and what he did, whether it was by Saka's fire aiding him or whether it's through Zinchenko, was huge. And and obviously the results. Obviously we'll talk about some of the things that happened on Wednesday. But James, I mean that he ticks all the boxes there. He got everything pretty much right. Even the substitutions that came on, obviously with Vieira getting the assist for Martinelli. That was perfect, especially who he was up against as well. And to be honest, we were all sweating about being 2-1 down. We should have known. We should have known really with Emery what he's like when he's defending the lead. We've seen what he's like. You've always got a chance. So maybe that's kind of what
I said it after the game. Neil actually, we phoned each other up, and I just said to him, Neil, how many times under Emery did we see it? It's so nice to be on the positive side of it for once in our bloody lives. I'm like, for God's sake. I remember the Boxing Day Southampton. What was it? It was 2-2 when we were having... And I'm like, oh, please. And then bloody Charlie Austin, of all people, made it 3-2. I remember like Shane Long would come out of bloody the witness protection programme and bloody score against us, didn't he? You'd be like, where's he been? Shane Long ain't played a game for like 7 years. And all of a sudden, Arsenal Southampton comes off the bench. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Do you even exist? Am I in the quantum realm with Ant-Man or whatever? Like, where's Shane Long been? And he just scores all the time. But yeah, no, that's what I said. I said, look, we're going to score an absolute rubbish goal here because it's just typical of Emery. Like, you've seen the story. And I mean, what a one to get. Bloody Martinez, get him in training, showing Eddie and Nketiah how to head a ball. Like, honestly, what a finish. What a finish. Unbelievable. That's a World Cup winning header, that is, if I've ever seen one. It's an unbelievable header. But yeah, I was so happy, I come on here, didn't I? I said what I said about Zinchenko and not Zinchenko, sorry, Jorginho, sorry.
Jorginho,
yeah, and you know what? That second goal for Aston Villa. Okay, Ben White gets done on the overlap, so I can't. He's not going to get a pass from me for that. But the gap that they were allowed to go through is all because Jorginho engages out wide. If he just stays in his position in the centre, because Thomas Partey wouldn't go and drift over there. He'd be like, I've got Saliba and I've got Ben White to do that. So he wouldn't make that run to go after that guy. Yeah. And again, there were times we saw it with the McGinn shot as well. You just left that little tiny bit of a chasm in the middle. Because, again, he's another one. I will give him it in terms of leadership and everything else for the group. You can see him all the time talking vocal. Yeah. But he's another one that wants to G it to get, like you said, he wants to get the 3 points. I don't want the draw. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. And again, he did go nuts when he scored. Thankfully, he went ballistic when Jorginho scored. So did the fans. So yeah, fair play. But I was very, very, very happy with the win. Obviously, so can't complain. No complaints.
No, I mean you're spot on with Jorginho and Partey. I mean, we know what we get with Partey. We get that defensive security and just that cover there. And with Jorginho, we don't get that athleticism. Obviously that's obvious, but we get the ability to pass through the lines or to make more vertical passes, and obviously and just open things up a little bit. So and he's pretty press resistant as well, which is quite interesting for someone who isn't as athletic. You think someone who's going to be a bit more, dynamic would be able to
I'd
do
like
that.
to see Partey and him together. If you
a
could,
lot of people have been saying that.
If you could move him to where Xhaka is, and then let Partey do all the mopping and all the dirty stuff, and just be like Zinchenko, all you got to do is spray your through balls. Yeah, I think you got a lovely little potential there.
Well, maybe if that happens, you can unlock Martinelli again, because maybe that's just what he's not getting that service, which isn't replicated on the right hand side, is it? With Odegaard and
but this is what I kept saying, Michael. Martinelli was getting so much flack the last couple of games, but part of me was like, it's not necessarily all him. I was like, that left hand side. I'm like, if you swap him for Trossard, it would be the same, and it was that first. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Xhaka and Zinchenko, especially when Zinchenko inverts in, they go in primarily the same space. So it's so easy to figure it out. Because you know that he's going to chop in, and they both, and then I would love for once, Zinchenko, just drop your shoulder, go that way, and then allow your Martinelli or your Trossard to cut in, because they won't think it's going to happen, because you just do the same. You do chop in every single time. I just love him once in a game just to go, I'm going to go that way, just to throw it, just a curveball. But he doesn't. He will always do where he chops in, sadly.
I think he tends to slow the game down slightly as well, Zinchenko, at times. That's the only negative I've got against him, as well as that. But Neil, amazing moment. Obviously, just what was your thoughts when the Jorginho goal went in, and obviously how it went in it's a shame really, because I think I think you would appreciate this one, James. If Jorginho had scored, he would have been the first Italian to score a goal for Arsenal in the Premier League, or in league. Or, correct me if I'm wrong, but in league history, I don't think Italians ever scored a goal for.
No, Lupoli only got. He only got Carabao or whatever, didn't he?
He scored in the league.
I don't think so. I think
he only got. Sorry, in the league. In the league,
cool.
Sorry. Yeah, but I think he would have been the first. But obviously, they've credited it to Martinez.
You can't rob Martinez of that finish. Like I said, that's World Cup winning header. That is. You can't knock that.
Yeah. Just quickly throw this up, just for.
Yes.
To try that out. Yeah. So
that's brilliant. That is just brilliant.
But he deserved that, didn't he? He deserved that. He's probably still in the dressing room, head down, towel over his head, and probably got his World Cup medal on underneath, which he hasn't taken off, which he only got because of Messi, and they wanted him to win it anyway. But that's another story. But no, Neil, a great moment for Jorginho, even though he initially at the time he probably thought that was his goal, the way he was celebrating it, and why wouldn't he? But I think Arteta made a pointed comment where he said about getting the support from the fans and for them to appreciate him, and that obviously means that they're not stupid. They've got their ears to the ground. They know that a lot of the fan base weren't particularly happy with or impressed with his signing, and thinking that he's a Chelsea reject. But what do you think this will do for him going forward? Because I thought he was pretty solid again. Fairly. He did these bits and pieces. There were a couple of worries, as we mentioned, in terms of his covering and everything. But what do you think that's going to do for him? And does it make things a little bit easier for us to navigate the next couple of games without, as it seems like Partey's going to be out for a while?
I think it's gargantuan, like the results been for us. I know that he's got a lot of negativity as almost like a third choice because of the names that we were after, and all of a sudden it felt like, from a lot of fans' perspective, last minute signing just to get someone in, and it's another Chelsea reject. Look at the ones that have come before. I didn't see him as that. I saw him as a very astute, clever signing. Number one, with the amount of money that we saved, but also because of his experience and the fact that he still is hungry, because he has not won the Prem. He's won in Europe, but he's not won the Prem, which is the opposite of Zinchenko and Jesus. So I thought we've got a nice little, counterbalance there. So everyone's hungry. Everyone's hungry for something. And having a winner in there from a European perspective is always going to be a plus for us. Yes, you guys were spot on and great analysis on where he may have faltered, but it hasn't been a good ride for any of the players in the last few games. But what he has done, he's added a different dimension, and I think again you nailed it there, Michael. The worry was, oh no, Partey's out. That's like two of our best players now not in the first 11 with Jesus as well not there. And that's another thing. We won today without both of them, which is great. Again, a nod for the squad, because that will give us a lot of encouragement from that. But I don't think we are going to worry too much now. I know we got a very difficult tie against Leicester. Who you can't. I can never tell with Leicester what we're going to get, because they can be absolutely banging one game and then they can be fairly average the next. So we hopefully will catch them on an average, or we'll make them look average. Let's put it that way. But yeah. I just feel that I think he's such a useful signing on so many levels, and I'm hoping, like with the rest of them, because of the result today, all the flaws we've seen in the last few games, I think are going to kind of almost dissipate, and hopefully dissipate very quickly. I mean, yes, Saliba could have been better here and there, but then already in the second half, there was a moment where I thought he was back to his best again, where he was under pressure and he kept so cool, and his trickery with his feet was amazing, and he got us out of trouble. And I think that is again what we were seeing consistently before this small blip. So I think that will kind of correct itself. Especially with it's got to, after what's happened today, that dressing room is going to be absolutely buoyant. After when they were being interviewed, Zinchenko and Jorginho, they were so keen to get back. They were like, "Can we finish this interview, please? We want to go and celebrate with the lads back in the dressing room." And that just says it all for me. But his goal, honestly, I was saying to James afterwards, I said, did you see him? He was actually calling for it. I was thinking, how can you be calling? I mean, I know you were in loads of space. That was still a good way out, to have a shot. But, oh my God, what a strike. For me, that was his goal. Yeah, right. We can have a laugh at Martinez, and why not? But, what a strike. And Arteta said, that's not something he normally does, but I'm so glad it's come off for him today. But the memes going around of that, and also I don't know, you guys are more on it than I am about these things. But have you seen the one with Arteta and the staying alive in the background? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh my goodness me, it's so hilarious. So the team was staying alive. It got him, when he's taking the mick out of the referee. Allowing play to carry on.
Okay.
It's absolutely hilarious. So.
He'll get done for that. They'll do him for that.
I've said he's getting a touchline ban by the end of the season. He'll get done. But no, screw him.
But that's worth it. That was worth it.
He's had enough. No, he's had enough. He's like all of us. I'm sick and tired of you costing me points, robbing me games.
Yeah. But you know what? That just brought something else up. I know. Going backwards and forwards, but De Bruyne actually pushing him. Nothing happened to him. I mean, that's full hands on. He literally pushed Arteta, didn't he? And nothing again. And it's like, you imagine Xhaka doing that to Klopp.
Oh yeah,
he wears blue, Neil. So if he was in red, might be different. But he wears blue, so you know how it goes. You know how it works around here.
Yeah,
you got to do it. Nothing ever easy. Got people telling us it's easy. Nothing ever easy, mate.
It's
never.
True.
And you mentioned De Bruyne quick, Neil. I just want to say, that second half against us the other day, Amazon after the game were absolutely, I thought, God almighty, is there more Kleenex that they can fill up? Because that's how they were going on about that second half from Kevin De Bruyne. And I'll tell you what, Odegaard's second half today, because he had a poor first one, as did the majority of them, I'm like, that needs to be spoken about.
Man of the match.
Him again was like that game neck pull. It was like you said about, did they get angry with Saka? The stuff that was happening with Saka, and he just totally second half switched it up, and he's got to keep that going, because again, like I always say about Thomas Partey, when he's in full flow, there's not a player I love watching in the league more. But when there is a full flow Martin Odegaard, oh my God.
Unbelievable.
It's just, and you know what? Bad miss, didn't matter. That's what I was going to say. You know, and Eddie as well. Work rate superb, but mate, come on. I can't keep backing you when you're doing this.
Well,
two sitters again, Neil. 2 sitters. I'm like, I can't have that, Eddie. I can't be doing that.
I'm no good. I'm very, very. I don't have much knowledge and expertise on any of this, as you guys know, when it comes to positionings and formations. But I don't see why we can't give a little reshuffle at the front. And this is all with all due respect to Eddie, because he has been good in Jesus' absence. He's done really well. But I just feel that he's got to do. It's like we used to talk about Lacazette. You've got to put the ball in the net as well, mate. You've got to do that. And I fear that there's one thing that's missing. That he needs to be doing that more consistently. And why not just give him a break? Because he can play in one of the Europa fixtures which are coming up. I know you're going to think I'm mad, but put Martinelli up front. Move Trossard.
Been saying it for the last 2 games.
Put Trossard into his position and see what happens. And that could work. Because what happened? Well, where was Martinelli's goal? I know that was an open net, but he loves doing that. When I saw him marauding through that middle again, it just brought back memories of the Chelsea goal that he scored. And then that first time I ever saw him play, he's got the pace to absolutely pole, just go through that middle, maraud there and be effective. And I think it would be a good call just to try it out, just to see how he fares. And I think Trossard would be great in his position, to be fair. So there's a chance we could reshuffle.
Neil, you've done yourself a disservice there by insulting your own football knowledge. But what would you say Eddie's best at? What would you if you were to say about it? Poacher? There you go. The last 2 games, his chances are poacher's chances. They're not hard. He's not had to, do this, do that. They're goals that you would think bread and butter for you, mate. That's what you live for. And I'm like, he should have had 4 goals. Really, he should have had 4 goals the last 2 games.
At least getting it on target, if nothing else.
Yes, but
I mean, he was unlucky. I mean, I was probably hard on him with the one where he rose really well and he hit the bar. So all right, I was thinking, he should have. But all right, fine. But there have been other chances where really he should.
It's a great leap, Neil.
Oh,
but
amazing!
He's completely took Cash and Konsa out the game, so he's got to be guiding that in. I hate sounding horrible because I love the guy, but everything else, again, he's doing everything else but scoring his goals.
Yeah, it's the same with the chances that he had Wednesday night where he weren't challenged, was he? There were 3 headers basically, and you got to get him on target.
that first one on Wednesday.
You have to get. I remember we played Chelsea when we beat Chelsea away 1-0. And we done an amazing move. You rightly remember, we started right at the defence. We played all around the corners, and we absolutely played from one box to the other. And someone, I can't remember who it was, played a tremendous ball to Jesus. It was a header, and he messed up the header, and it would have been goal of the season if he'd have scored it. The reason we don't really talk about that much is because obviously we won the game and we kind of got away with it. The reason we talk about Eddie's chances is because obviously we know what the result was. But you're right. That's what he does. That's what he does. He scores goals and he's backed himself up. He's got he's got his ego as well. So you've got to deliver. And touching on Martinelli and his goal, do you think that going forward might cause a little bit of a selection headache for a nice one for Arteta? Like you said, when it comes to the games down the road, obviously we won't know who we play in the Europa League until we'll know on Friday morning, won't we, James? When they do the draw.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon. Yeah. So we're going to be away first because we're seeded, and we're going to be at home in the second leg. And obviously with the fixtures, you can see at the bottom where that slots into. Obviously we've got Fulham got a good result today away to Brighton. And talking of which, their manager De Zerbi got red carded today. Because he had a go at the referee. He basically said Howard Webb wasted 2 hours of my week when I spoke to him because your performance today was absolutely ridiculous. It was a joke, and he got red carded for that. So you can see like the man. It's not just Arteta. The managers know. He said the referees aren't good enough for this league. For this meant to be the best league in the world, but the referees aren't good enough. So obviously they Fulham have beaten them. So again, the games we've got Leicester, I think Leicester's going to be pretty much like today. It's going to be a bit of a shootout. Just that Leicester are more on the front foot than Villa are maybe, and they're maybe a little bit softer defensively than Villa are. So I think we may get a bit of joy there. And we've had a good record against them at their place under Arteta. So I think it might be a little bit similar to today's game, where it might be a few goals in it, and it just depends if we're on it, which hopefully with a week off will be all right. But do you think, Neil, do you think he really will start to think or look at putting Martinelli, especially if Eddie's not scoring? I mean, if we're winning, it kind of masks it, doesn't it? Because that's kind of what happened with Jesus when he wasn't scoring. We were sort of winning games. But I think you look at someone like Xhaka, who second half he looked like he was blowing again, and he's hardly, in terms of rotation, him and Gabriel Magalhaes, I think those two, if you look at numbers, they must be at the top in terms of minutes played, right? Because these guys aren't getting rotated out of the team regardless. But do you think with what's at stake again now, with our destiny in our own hands, he has to make changes like that going forward? He has to maybe put Martinelli up front, do you think? Or
yeah, I do. This is again with all due respect to Eddie, because I don't want to poo-poo him. I didn't back him. I was the ones that didn't back him. I was proved wrong, and gladly so. James has backed him right from the start, rightly so. But I just think he's just gone off from the point of actually converting. It's just dropped, and we can't. We're going for the title. We have to score goals. You can only win titles by scoring goals. So what do you do? You keep faith with the player that's kind of maybe just gone off the boil a little bit, or do you bring in a potential goal scorer? I have lauded Martinelli from day one. I still feel he could become one of the most prolific and potent strikers in the world. I believe that. Still believe that. But he needs to be given the opportunities, the services you guys have talked about, but maybe also where he actually plays. And I think him in the middle will be unbelievable. And we can't judge it on one or two attempts. He's got to be there for a little while. Give him a chance. And I think that is definitely a rotation option that we can use without Jesus, with Jesus still on the sidelines. I really do believe we can do that. And I think that will work well for Trossard as well, because Trossard hasn't done much wrong to not be playing. So it will be good for him. And yeah, it might upset Eddie, but Eddie's going to get chances. We've got Europa stuff coming up, and I'm sure he'll be playing in those if he is dropped for say the league games. And I think the same with Xhaka. Xhaka is, I'm not going to criticise Xhaka at all. Yeah, he might not been the way he has been. Apart from, in the last 4 games before that, he's been unbelievable. He's been an absolute inspiration. I'll still say he's probably one of my top 3 this season for what he's done and the work rate and everything he's put into it. But you know what? After seeing the positives with Jorginho, I think it was you, James, or I can't remember. I think it was you just said earlier. It will work with him, and Partey might be a great shout, and that will give Xhaka the time to rest, because that's what he might need. I mean, he's another Saka. He doesn't seem to get injured. Saka's one who just gets booted around all the time, and he still gets up. It dumbfounds me, that kid. You're right, James. There was a couple of times today I thought, surely he's got to come off now. He's limping. He's got to come off. No, they just strapped him up. I don't know if they put some magic spray in there. I don't know, some Superman stuff, and then he's back again. It's just like, and he actually got better after being heavily strapped. It's just so, and Xhaka's another one. He's like a machine, but I think even machines need a service now and again. They need to be, re-oiled and, maybe change the oil filter and all that stuff, and the air filter and all of that. And I think we've got options. I think, yes, we do need to do that. I think Martinelli would be a great shout for the middle. And you know what? The other encouragement I saw, if it's needed, and I think that's going to be more of a Europa shout, is Nelson back on the bench. I thought before he got injured, he started showing me signs of what we always thought he could be. So that's another option if needed. So there is ability to rotate, and we've got to take advantage of it, Michael.
Can I just say as well, you got Vieira there, who he only gives these little cameos to. We've all said it, that £35 million player. Trust him more.
Yeah,
trust him more.
That's what we said, isn't it? We've got to learn to trust his squad, but I think he won't. My point of question, he was like, with what's at stake and where we're going toward.
we all can see. Okay,
I
I know he's very lightweight, and you just wish that he gets, have the meals that Saka eats, mate. And then, mate, because Saka don't have bait, he ain't on Cowangate like bloody Vieira is. He has proper meals. He has real food. Get on the meals, and then we all know the minute Vieira toughens up, he is going to be the kid's got it. The kid's got it. Trust me. I can see it even now. And I loved when Martinelli. I loved when because he fell to his knees when he made the pass. And as he's falling, he's like, yes. And then Tierney runs over and picks him up, hugs him. It was just like brilliant. Love it. Because them two have got, they're doing all the Dragon Ball Z celebrations and everything together. They're him and Martinelli have maybe because they both speak Portuguese. They've got such a exactly. They've got such a relationship.
That's a great picture. I love that.
Yeah. They've got such a relationship together, them two. And I'm like, use them, trust them, because they're good players. We all know how good these players are, man. Come on.
You know Saliba, right? He's the guy when you go out on a night out and you see someone just on the just tagging onto your group photo. You're having a photo with your mate.
Yeah, I'm normally that person. Yeah.
You look at the photo, like he's that geezer. He's like him. He's just vibing, isn't he? He's just having a great time. He's just look, let's get in on there.
But it's nice to see that.
Yeah.
If you look closely, you can see like Martinelli sort of initiating that he's holding a pen. And then he's going to pass it to Vieira, who's then going to pass it to Saliba, whose hands out to sign his contract. Look, that's what I hope it means. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm getting a bit David Icke, but that's what I feel it means in my head.
That's brilliant.
Great, but no, it was obviously as a result of this. Obviously, we don't want to trigger too many people because we rattled. I've still rattled the Wolverhampton Wanderers fan base with a tweet I sent out about a year ago. I still get some messages about that. Obviously, we've rattled another Midlands club because of this, and I think James will fill us in with one of their legends, supposedly, who's not happy with this. And I'll let you take it away with what you said earlier, James, and I'll because I'm such a good citizen and I like to do my bit. I'll throw this number up as well for people if they're celebration police number 0800.
If you've been affected by any of the scenes in this picture above,
1971, 2004. If you know, you know. So yeah, what happened, James?
I just saw a clip. I don't do talk sport. I can't abide the stuff. No. But the clips come up, and I've seen he's mentioned us, and me being me, I'm like, well, I've got to click it now. I know I shouldn't, but I've got to. And old Gabriel Agbonlahor he's like, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to his teammates, and I'm just like, oh mate, get a grip. And he's like, oh, he's been a dreadful player for a month. And he scores an empty net goal and thinks he's the second coming of Christ. And someone just replied, I think it's one of the first replies. It's like, you were awful your whole career, not just a month. So it just made me laugh. I was like, yeah. But,
Oh, great stuff.
Keep hating. The tears hydrate the club. So that's all.
Oh, I love it.
So before we finish, obviously, guys, again, tremendous result. We had people asking us questions after Wednesday, and we answered them in some fashion, and obviously put the pressure on City. I don't know how they how they drew that game today. I saw the highlights of their game, and they missed some big chances. So they're not. People were giving them the title, weren't they, on Wednesday night? As you said, Amazon literally had the what do you call it? The presentation stage. We probably had the presentation stage on the Emirates pitch, probably if we gave them the chance. But no, great win. Obviously, we look forward to the Leicester game. And you guys, obviously, I hope obviously it's a bit of a way away. Do you think the only worry going forward is obviously the fitness side of things in terms of Partey and it is a bit of concern. Just jumping forward, do you think? Obviously, we tried to get that position sorted out, in January in terms of getting the defensive midfielder. And for me personally, as soon as the window's open, that's what we've got to deal with. You know, that 100%. You know, it's all well and good having Jorginho there. He's on a short contract, but we have to get a defensive midfielder. We can't rely on this guy because this is like the third season in a row where second half of the season he's kind of broken down. You know, he's missed 2 games now. James, obviously, I know Neil. You know, Neil loves his transfer chat, so I'll come to him in a minute. But James, you know, you're obviously you agree with that. I mean, you know, if we talk about dropping a lot of money, that's got to be the one, innit? If you know, if you've got the likes of Balogun coming back into it, you know, where you haven't got to worry about the offensive side, it's got to be defensive midfield has to be covered as soon as possible, especially with the teams that we've got in the market.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Thomas Partey, which is obviously the big one, because he's the main guy. That's where he plays. That's his position. But the backups, El Neni's going to be 31, 32 before he kicks a ball again for us.
Yeah.
He's not going to go. He's not on an upwards trajectory. He's only really ever going to go back down again.
Yeah.
Jorginho, for as much as he's brilliant today and brilliant against Man City, he's another one. He's not getting any younger. And then if you're looking at the third choice there, it's Granit Xhaka, isn't it? And Granit Xhaka can't be moved back to number 6 again. A cat's got 9 lives. Granit Xhaka's had 9. You know, he's on about 10, 11 lives. This guy. So if he goes back to number 6 and drops a stinker again, I think the club's gonna. You know, we'll all want him back in the Hague. So you got to buy someone. You know, Lukonga's not that guy. So what is your next? Unless we've got one that come in. You know, Neil, you watch more of the under-23s than I. I know I watch a lot, but unless we've got, you know, the second coming of Patrick Vieira or Claude Makelele coming through our academy, then we've got to buy some. I would just buy that Caicedo because I want to wind up that Brighton Athletic guy. He got on my nerves. He got on my nerves toward the end. I took it personally. You know, like how Saka got up and pushed it. He was winding me up. I was like, I hope we do buy him just so I can go on Twitter. I don't normally nab at people on Twitter like that, but I was like, I'm going to reply to you when he has his Arsenal shirt held up in the photo. Just like, now shut up. You know, all wind. Oh. I'm like, you never have anything to do. You're the athletic reporter for Brighton. You have nothing. You've waited all your life just to tweet about Arsenal. I'm like, you're pathetic.
It's true.
Yeah, I was like, go get some proper news apart from talk about Arsenal all the time, you loser. You know what I mean? Doing my head in.
And on that note, Neil, we've got a, you know, he's becoming a bit of a worry, like in terms of his injuries, you know, especially, you know, at a key point of the season.
Do you know what? Even if we had a fully fit Partey, we still need to get that position.
Yeah,
this is what James said.
Yeah.
It's not about his injury so much. We need another player there. Yeah. And yes, as much as I've been happily and nicely impressed by Jorginho, he's not the answer. El Neni has. Well, James summed it up for all the reasons that James said. That's short-term. We need their short-term answers. They were to carry us to lifting the title in May. We've got that now. We now need to actually for next season, because next season we're going to be probably one of the favourites for the Champions League, or certainly in my eyes anyway. And we need that cover because Europa, again, without being disrespectful, it is not the Champions League. We're definitely going to need that player to cover that and the Premiership. And Xhaka, God bless him, Jorginho, bless him. They're not, and even Partey. We need to play there 100% all day long. Striker, I'm at ease now because Balogun's going to come and tear everything up. Forget Haaland, move over Haaland. You'll get your record this season. Balogun's going to better that next season. And the other interesting thing about today, which is something I didn't know, again, James, you'll be the one to tell me if I'm wrong, but this was for Arteta's first win against Emery.
Yeah,
as Arsenal
correct.
manager.
Yeah, correct.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Third time lucky. Yeah.
Went against the narrative. Obviously, it was built up, wasn't it, that he was going to stick the knife in and twist it. But
he deserves it for that G-lay, mate. He looked like a cross between the Count from Sesame Street and Alan Partridge in that G-lay. I was like, "What have you done? What have you done?"
I've got nothing bad to say about him.
No, neither have I. But I mean, I wear some dodgy gear. But God Almighty.
Can I just say one thing as well, which really annoyed me? I mean, the way James was, saying about the Brighton chat. I again, all season we have been top of the league, pretty much, right? 95% of it. and all the time, never considered to be this, that, or anything positive. And the words that I kept hearing, there's still a long way to go. We have one blip, and we're still actually in our destiny because we have a game in hand and we're equal on points. But apparently, as soon as that loss against City, it's all over. It's City's title now. They're already deciding how they're going to cover it come May. And I'm like, seriously, this is what we got to put up with every single week. And I'm sick of it. And that's what today's result made it all the more sweeter for me.
So we're in a better position after this game than we were after the game Wednesday, because we've got two. We were, obviously level on points and the game in hand, but now we're 2 points clear and the game in hand. So it just shows you how quickly things can change. And that's why it's vital we get players back fit. We're getting them integrated back in the team. ESR was on the bench today, which was great. Vieira came on, got an assist. That was great. As each day goes by, Jesus gets a bit nearer to action as well. That's why all eyes are really on the Europa League draw. Let's see, hopefully we get someone who's not too much of a job to get past, and then that means he can really rotate the side a little bit. But no, gents, thanks very much for a wonderful chat again. It's been really, really good. It's been a great day. I think we were all, a lot of us were all on the floor after Wednesday night, and like we were hungover, like a hangover feeling. A couple of days, it was like, it wasn't until yesterday when I thought, okay, let's go again. But look, the boys delivered tremendous 3 points, and long may it continue. So we'll be back hopefully next week after the Leicester game. It should be hopefully, well, it's a Saturday, maybe Saturday night again, or maybe Sunday this time, and hopefully chatting about another wonderful 3 points in the Midlands. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. Please sub and share and like, and tell all your good friends about this show, and hopefully you can help it grow with the great followers that we have already. So thanks very much. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week. My name's been I've been Michael Harris as usual. He's been I still point the wrong way. He's Neil. Champions no fair elect Shah, and the man down here. He's the jizzer today. Wu-Tang is defended again. James.
What is Neil ODB? I'm joking.
James Johnstone. Thanks very much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend and the rest of the weeks to come. And LFG, let's go. All the best.
You know who made it.